JavaScript references, array, string, number, math, date, global, regexp, classes, error, boolean, operators, statements, JSON. Array. Concat. This joins arrays and returns an array with the joined arrays. Constructor. This returns the function that created the array object prototypes. Copy within. This copies array elements within the array to and from specified positions. Entries. This returns a key value pair array iteration object. Every. This checks if every element in an array passes a test. Fill. This fills the element in an array with a static value. Filter. This creates a new array with every element in an array that passes a test. Find. This returns the value of the first element in an array that passes a test. Find index. This returns the index of the first element in an array that passes a text. For each. This calls a function for each array element. From. This creates an array from an object. Includes. This checks if an array contains the specified element. Index of. This searches the array of an element and returns its positions. Is array. This checks whether an object is an array. Join. This joins all elements of an array into a string. Keys. This returns a array iteration object containing the keys of the original array. Last index of. This searches the array of an element starting at the end and returns its positions. Length. This sets or returns the number of elements in an array. Map. This creates a new array with the result of calling a function for each array element. Pop. This removes the last element of an array and returns that element. Prototype. This allows you to add properties and methods to an array object. Push. This adds new elements to the end of an array and returns the new length. Reduce. This reduces the value of an array to a single value going left to right. Reduce right. This reduces the value of an array to a single value going right to left. Reverse. This reverses the order of the elements in an array. Shift. This removes the first element of an array and returns that element. Slice. This selects a part of an array and returns the new array. Sum. This checks if any of the elements in an array pass a test. Sort. This sorts the elements of an array. Splice. This adds or removes elements from an array. To string. This converts an array to a string and returns the result. On shift. This adds new elements to the beginning of an array and returns the new length. Value of. This returns the primitive value of an array. Kindly hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, like it, comment, and share. String references. String. Char art. This returns the character at a specified index positions. Char code art. This returns the Unicode of the character at a specified index. End suite. This returns if a string ends with a specified value. From char code, this returns Unicode value as character. Includes. This returns if a string contains a specified value. Index of. This returns the index position of the first occurrence of a value in a string. Last index of. This returns the index position of the last occurrence of a value in a string. Length. This returns the length of a string. Local compare. This compares two strings in the current state. Match. This searches a string for a value or a regular expression and returns the matches. Prototype. This allows you to add properties and methods to an object. Repeat. This returns a new string with a number of copies of a string. Replace. This searches a string for a value or regular expression and returns a string where the values are replaced. Search. This searches a string for a value or regular expression and returns the index position of the match. Slice, this extracts a part of a string and returns a new string. Split, this splits a string into an array of substrings. Starts with, this checks whether a string begins with specified character. Substring, this extracts a number of characters from a string from a start index position. Substring, this extracts a character from a string between two specified indices position. To local lowercase, this returns a string converted to lowercase letters. To local uppercase, this returns a string converted to uppercase letters. To lowercase, this returns a string converted to lowercase letters. To string, this returns a string or a string object as a string. To uppercase, this returns a string converted to uppercase letters. Trim, this returns a string with removed white spaces. Kindly hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, like it, comment, and share. Number references. Number is finite. This checks whether a value is a finite number. Is integer. This checks whether a value is an integer. Is none. This checks whether a value is number none. Is safe integer. This checks whether a value is a safe integer. To exponential, this converts a number into an exponential notation. To fixed, this formats a number with x numbers of digits after the decimal point. To local string, this converts a number into a string based on the local settings. To precision, this formats a number to x length. To string, this converts a number to a string. Max value, this returns the largest number possible in JavaScript. Min value, this returns the smallest number possible in JavaScript. Negative infinity, this represents negative infinity returned and overflow. None, this represents not a number value. Positive infinity, this represents infinity returned on overflow. Prototype, this allows you to add properties and methods to an object. Math references. Math. Abs x, this returns the absolute value of x. Acos x, this returns the arccosine of x in radians. Acos hx, this returns the hyperbolic arccosine of x. Assign x, this returns the arcsine of x in radians. Assign hs, this returns the hyperbolic arcsine of x. Arctan x, this returns the arctangent of x as a numeric value. Arctan 2yx, this returns the arctangent of the quotient of its argument. Cube root x, this returns the hyperbolic arctangent of x. Sin x, this returns the x rounded upward to the nearest integer. CLZ32x, this returns the number of leading zeros in the 32-bit binary representation of x. Cos x, this returns the cosine of x in radians. Cos x, this returns the hyperbolic cosine of x. E, this returns Euler's numbers. Exponential x, this returns the value of this. Exponential m1x, this returns the value of this. Floor, this returns x rounded downward to the nearest integer. Front x, this returns the nearest 32-bit single precision float representation of a number. ln2, this returns the natural logarithm of 2. ln10, this returns the natural logarithm of 10. Log x, this returns the natural logarithm of x. Log 10x, this returns the base 10 logarithm of x. Log 10e, this returns the base 10 logarithm of e. Log 1px, this returns the natural logarithm of this. Log 2x, this returns the base 2 logarithm of x. Log 2e, this returns the base 2 logarithm of e. Max x1, x2, this returns the number with the highest value. Min x1, x2, this returns the number with the lowest value. Pi, this returns pi. Power xy, this returns the value of x to the power of y. Random, this returns a random number between 0 and 1. Round x, this rounds x to the nearest integer. Sin x, this returns the sign of a number. Sin x, this returns the sign of x. Sin hx, this returns the hyperbolic sign of x. Square root x, this returns the square root of x. Square root 1, 2, This returns the square root of 1 over 2. Square root 2, this returns the square root of 2. Tan x, this returns the tangent of an angle. Tan hx, this returns the hyperbolic tangent of a number. Truncate x, this returns the integer part of a number x. If the video adds value to you, do well by hitting the like button to give us a like. Date references. Date. Get date, this returns the day of the month. Get day, this returns the day of the week. Get full year, this returns the year. Get hours, this returns the hour. Get milliseconds, this returns the milliseconds. Get minute, this returns the minutes. Get month, this returns the month. Get seconds, this returns the seconds. Get time, this returns the number of milliseconds since midnight. Get time zone offset, this returns the time difference between UTC time. Get UTC date, this returns the day of the month according to universal time. Get UTC day, this returns the day of the week according to the universal time. Get UTC full year, this returns the year according to universal time. Get UTC hours, this returns the hour according to universal time. Get UTC milliseconds, this returns the milliseconds according to the universal time. Get UTC minutes, this returns the minutes according to universal time. Get UTC months, this returns the month according to universal time. Get UTC seconds, this returns seconds according to universal time. Now, this returns the number of milliseconds since midnight. Parsing, this parses a date string and returns the number of milliseconds. Prototype, this allows you to add properties and methods to an object. Set date, this sets the day of the month of a date object. Set full year, this sets the full year of a date object. Set hours, this sets the hour of a date object. Set milliseconds, this sets the milliseconds of a date object. Set minute, this sets the minutes of a date object. Set month, this sets the months of a date object. Set seconds, this sets the seconds of a date object. Set time, this sets a date to a specified number of milliseconds after or before. Set UTC date, this sets the day of the month of a date object according to universal time. Set UTC full year, this sets the year of a date object according to universal time. Set UTC hours, this sets the hour of a date object according to universal time. Set UTC milliseconds, this sets milliseconds to a date object according to universal time. Set UTC minutes, this sets the minute to a date object according to universal time. Set UTC month, this sets the month of a date object according to universal time. Set UTC seconds, this sets the seconds of a date object according to universal time. To date string, this converts the date portion of a date object into a readable string. To ISO string, this returns the date as a string using the ISO standard. To JSON, this returns a date as a string formatted as a JSON date. To local date string, this returns the date portion of a date object as a string using local string. To local time string, this returns the time portion of a date object as a string using local conventions. To local string, this converts a date object to a string using local conventions. To string, this converts a date object to a string. To time string, this converts the time portion of a date object to a string. To UTC string, this converts a date object to a string according to universal time. UTC, this returns the number of milliseconds in a date since midnight. Kindly hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, like it, comment, and share. Global references. Global. The code URI decodes a URI. The code URI component decodes a URI component. Encode URI encode a URI. Encode URI component encodes a URI component. Nan, not a number. Number converts an object value to a number. Pass float, this passes a string and returns a floating point number. Pass in, this passes a string and returns an integer. undefined. This indicates that a variable has not been assigned a value. Regexp references. Regexp. This performs a global match. Find all matches rather than stopping after the first match. This performs case insensitive matching. This performs multi-line matching. This finds any character between the brackets. This finds any character not between the brackets. This finds character between the brackets, any digit. This finds character not between the brackets, any non-digit. This finds any of the alternatives specified. This finds a single character except new line or line terminator. This finds a word character. This finds a non-word character. This finds a digit. This finds a non-digit character. This finds a white space character. This finds a non-white space character. This finds a match at the beginning or end of a word. This finds a match but not at the beginning or the end of the word. This finds a null character. This finds a new line character. This finds a form feed character. This finds a carriage return character. This finds a tab character. This finds a vertical tab character. This finds the character specified by an octa number. This finds the character specified by hexadecimal number. This finds the Unicode character specified by hexadecimal number. This matches any string that contains at least one n. This matches any string that contains 0 or more occurrences of n. This matches any string that contains 0 or 1 occurrence of n. This matches any string that contains a sequence of x, n, x. This matches any string that contains a sequence of x to yns. This matches a sequence of x, n, s. This matches any string with n at the end of it. This matches any string with n at the beginning of it. This matches any string that is followed by a specific string n. This matches any string that is not followed by a specific string n. Kindly hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, like it, comment, and share. Classes, references, classes. Extend. This extends a class inherit. Static. This defines a static method for a class. Super. This refers to the parent class. Error. References. Error. Name. This sets or return an error name. Message. This sets or return an error message string. Operator. References. Operator. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, exponential, division, modulus, increment, decrement, equal to, equal value or equal type, not equal, neither equal value nor equal type, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and, or, not, bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise not, bitwise XOR, left shift, bitwise right shift. Statements, references, statements. Break. This exits a switch or a loop. Class. This declares a class. Continue. This breaks one iteration in the loop if a specified condition occurs and continue with the next iteration in the loop. Debugging. This stops the execution of JavaScript and call the debugging function. Do while. This executes a block of statement and repeats the block while a condition is true. For. This loops through a block of a code in a number of times. For in, this loops through the properties of an object. For of, this loops through the values of an iterable object. Function. This declares a function. If else, else if. This marks a block of a statement to be executed depending on different cases. Let. This declares a variable. Return. This stops the execution of a function and returns a value from that function. Switch. This marks a block of statement to be executed depending on different cases. Throw. This throws generates an error. Try catch. Finally, this marks the block of statement to be executed when an error occurs in a try block and implements error handling. Var. This declares a variable. While. This marks a block of statement to be executed while a condition is true. We appreciate you guys for watching. Do remember to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, and you can follow us at dcode on Instagram. Thank you guys once again. See you in the next video.